Hey guys, I just got out of the new Tomb Raider reboot. And I liked it. I liked it very much. Of course, it's been out for a while. A lot of you most of you have already seen it probably. But I finally got around to making it over there. The delay was my sister wanted to go too, but we never could get her scheduled to where she could do it. So I just went on by myself and totally loved it. It is not up to Indiana Jones level for me, but it's so much more. I liked it so much more than I remember liking the old films, the first two Tomb Raider movies, because Angelina Jolie made two Tomb Raider movies. Now this one is not connected to those, as I understand it. It seems to be a total reboot, and this is definitely young Lara Croft on her first adventure. And I'm going to do a spoiler synopsis in a minute, but just to cover some ground. First, the video game. I never have played, so I'm going to say that off the bat. I played a little bit Tomb Raider 3, I think, which, gives you a sense of, the character pretty well, because, it's an established character by the third game. And so I had a good idea of what Tomb Raider is, what Lara Croft is. But I only played that game like for a little while because I bought it, I played it, and very early in the game, I got stuck. And I get really frustrated. And that's one of the reasons I'm not a major gamer, because I get frustrated when I get stuck. And sometimes it's stuck in a way that I really can't figure it out, or sometimes it's just a really tedious, level. But yeah, I when I get stuck like this, yeah, I just traded that game off to somebody else for something that wasn't even worth nearly as much. It was a bad deal for me, but I had more fun with the game I got. So anyway, so I haven't been a big fan of the games, but I do love the character. It's this intelligent, beautiful, adventurous, tough, and I'm generally, I do kind of usually like mousy girls, but there are some of these action girls that I do really go for. Batgirl, I'm huge on Batgirl. I'm not so much Wonder Woman, but I love Batgirl and Supergirl. I still like them to be a little girly, but Tomb Raider, yeah, I love Tomb Raider, but you know what? I'm not really into Angelina Jolie and that version of Tomb Raider, and honestly, that's more what I think of when I think of the game. This new version, of course, it's young Tomb Raider. But yeah, she was way more my type. God, she's gorgeous. But yeah, the new actress, Alicia Vikander, who, yeah, I really need to see some of her work. I really do. But yeah, the old version, I just remember getting bored with it. The movies, the first two movies, kind of like the game, I get bored with not Indiana Jones. I love Indiana Jones. I get bored with James Bond movies. I get bored with action movies that don't have any fantasy and don't have much comedy. And the Indiana Jones movies have a good campy humor that comes up a lot. I even love the fourth one. I don't get the hate for the fourth movie. I really don't. Other than I wish it looked like it was made in the 80s, and I know they could have done that, and they didn't. And that kind of sucked, but I still love all those movies. The fourth one too. I think it's an enjoyable, fun movie, like Temple, But and so the Indiana Jones movies are my adventure movies, and I would love for Tomb Raider to be another set of adventure movies for me. But I do love adventure movies in the jungle and stuff like that often, especially when it's like treasure hunt and stuff like that. But yeah, not into the James Bondish stuff. And Tomb Raider is kind of James Bondish mixed with Indiana Jones and stuff. Yeah, Angelina Jolie really captured the look of the character and everything. I think she was perfectly cast, but I just remember having the same problem I have with Bond movies of just kind of getting bored with them. I didn't get bored in this new one. Maybe hints of that at times, just because it was a lot of action, and I feel like they could have had more of the puzzle solving stuff. They had that. They did show the character's intelligence and everything. There were times when it was a little lopsided, like They had her being fairly good at being like suspicious about suspicious people. But then there was a time when she was on these docks, I think in Japan, and these teenagers approached her, and they were obviously about to rob her, and she didn't suspect them at all, and she was totally like, thought they were there to help her. And at that scene, I was like, oh, come on, you should know better than that. But anyway, very well acted film. I got to keep this short because my camera's got very little time right now, but very well acted, fun action adventure, but it took a lot from Last Crusade, Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade, as far as the plot went. So I didn't really have a problem with that. I mean, they changed a lot of things too. But basically, she goes to look for her father, who was an adventurer also. They were this like these very wealthy people who like to go hunting for mysterious things, and the father was like that, and she had that in her, but she had never, I guess she didn't know that about her father. All she knew was that he disappeared on her when she was a kid, and she kind of rejected all her inheritance when her father disappeared, and she was just kind of living very poor in the beginning of the movie. She was a courier, a bicycle courier, and they also show her working out a lot, which I feel like her face would not look as gorgeous as it does if she's boxing all the time, because she's boxing and stuff. But maybe I'm wrong about that. But anyway, so at the beginning of the movie, we see that part of her life, and we see this woman who's obviously running the family businesses and stuff, and she's like trying to get Lara Croft, the lead character. I don't know if I even said her name, did I? Tomb Raider, Lara Croft, to come back and get her inheritance, to take over her huge mansion and all that, and if she wants her businesses and everything. And she doesn't want to, because it means she has to sign a paper that says her father's gone, dead, and she doesn't want to admit that. And she also doesn't want to have to be, business person and everything. She wants to she's more of an active person, active lifestyle. And then she decides to go, she decides to go sign the papers, right? And I forget already why she decided that, but there's a puzzle box, a special like puzzle box that she's also inheriting, and she takes a look at that before she even signs the papers, and she opens it up, she solves the puzzle, and of course, first clue to finding her dad. So she goes on this search to find her dad, and she doesn't even sign her papers or take over anything yet. She just goes on this search, and it's a big adventure. It's a big, like, she goes to this island. I think it's Japan, if I recall correctly. That's where she was going, because what they're kind of looking for, besides looking for her father, the father was looking for this, like, the first empress of Japan or something, and she was supposed to be this supernatural, like, destroyer. And so that was the big search the father was on. And she goes looking for the father and ends up in this, like, slave camp run by this other organization on this island, and this other organization is also trying to find the same thing the father was looking for, the tomb of this ancient empress. And that's where, on this island, she escapes from this camp, and she finds her father, and of course then the bad guys catch up to him. There's a lot of chases in the jungle, and it's very good, it's very exciting, and you can see it's her first adventure. She's just learning how to deal with this stuff, but you see what a survivor she is. And you see that more than you see her puzzle solving and super intelligent type stuff, But you do see that a little bit, You see it when she's dealing with other people at times. But there's a lot of running and being chased and stuff, which you have in these kind of movies. I guess it's kind of a short movie. I didn't really check how long it was, and I just feel like there should have been more puzzle solving, stuff like that. But I don't know. Maybe there's not as much of that in the game as I would assume. But anyway, she finds her dad, and she with the villains, very much like Last Crusade. They find the Empress, and they find out that it's not a supernatural power that this Empress had. She just carried a disease, a really bad disease. And certain aspects of this were also very reminiscent of Resident Evil. So I did get a Resident Evil vibe here. What I'll bring up as far as the enjoyment factor, everything about it was really excellent, I thought. But it's whether or not you have an issue with them sort of rehashing the Last Crusade plot, as far as like the whole search for your father. He disappeared looking for on his quest, and then the kid goes looking for them. And then very much the ending bit where they're coming to the actual tomb, and the villains are there with them and all that. It was very similar. There were a lot of similarities, really. Very well disguised, with a lot of similarities. And there's humor in this movie, but it's not as much as like an Indiana Jones movie. But it helps, and it's necessary. And I think there was humor in the old ones too. I don't know why I don't remember those old ones enough. I really need to get them and watch them. They might be on Hulu, I don't even know, on Netflix or something. But yeah, I don't remember. I just remember that Angelina Jolie really looked the part. And I'm going to talk about that in a minute here, about the new actress and the way they portrayed Lara Croft. But yeah, I thought it was an excellent movie, an excellent Tomb Raider beginning movie. And obviously they had like the little like teaser for the next movie, which gets her into more like being Lara Croft. And she gets her guns, her pistols at the end of this movie. And there's nothing at the end of the credits, but right before the credits, but after they put Tomb Raider on the screen, there's that scene where she gets her guns. But you never see her in the shorts. And just the, I don't think so. I don't think, maybe when she was bicycling, was she wearing shorts in that? I feel like she never wore shorts in this movie. And the thing is, the reason I'm saying that is because it's the iconic look of Tomb Raider, of Lara Croft. I call her Tomb Raider. But, and I'll get into that a little bit more in a second, but just talking about the enjoyment level, again, like, they talk about supernatural stuff a lot, and yet it didn't turn out to really be supernatural. But when they're teasing for future films, they're still talking about supernatural treasures. So I'm wondering, I don't know enough about the games to know if it was ever supernatural, or if it always turned out to be real type stuff. This movie, from my memory, I feel like this movie was a generally more realistic movie than the old ones. But then I don't remember much. I might be mixing some things up with the X-Men movies. I don't know. Did she have a big training robot or something like that? Or is that just X-Men? I don't know. But in this movie, I don't know. It was very real world. It seemed very real world. The most outlandish stuff was just some of the booby traps at the end, because I don't know if there are any actual booby traps like that in like any ancient temples and things. And then also the disease that they discover, which is like, I don't know if there's anything that works that quickly and that would still be alive in an ancient mummy, but anyway, so yeah, there's that fantasy element, but other than that, fairly realistic movie. Unlike like Indiana Jones, one of the things I love is you've got supernatural crazy stuff going on in those movies. But I'm running low on time here, so the last thing I'm going to say is, well, overall, I really enjoyed it. I think it was a really well done movie. All the acting and everything. Again, just a lot of similarities to Indiana Jones. But I enjoyed it more than I do a lot of action films. A lot of that could have been, again, just because I thought the lead actress was gorgeous. I mean, to push it over the edge to where I really enjoyed it, because of how I normally feel about action films in general. They have to have that fantasy stuff and a little bit more humor. But because she was also beautiful, I enjoyed that. and that's, that's a superficial whatever, I don't care. I don't think there's anything wrong with people finding people attractive. So I think that's stupid. And they obviously cast a beautiful woman. This is kind of part of Tomb Raider. It always has been. Part of Tomb Raider has always been the sex appeal. So I'm going to be really upset if she's not wearing her shorts in the next movie. Because part of me thinks, did they just not put her in her iconic costume because of the same reasons that there were so many arguments for a long time about changing Wonder Woman's costume to like a pantsuit or something, you know? Which I just think it's stupid. I mean, there are a lot of male heroes. Look at Aquaman. I used to have a coworker who went on and on about how sexy Aquaman was, the actor who also is on Game of Thrones, and how much she loves to look at him and all that stuff. I think that the idea of objectification and sex appeal and finding somebody visually attractive, I don't think that's the same thing. You can't take away from Lara Croft in this movie. Did I say Kraft? Lara Croft, that she is intelligent and and at times intimidating, and you know, it's young Lara Croft, so she's developing this into who she is. But you know, she's got a lot of character and personality, in my opinion. Some people might not have seen as much of that, but I did. And I mean, her character is a badass, and you can see her becoming that in this movie really well. And you see her feelings for her father and everything. I really thought that she did really well with this. Oscar-winning actress, you know. But yeah, she's gorgeous, and there's nothing wrong with that. And there would be nothing wrong with having her wear shorts and just enjoying also the fact that she's beautiful. That shouldn't be seen as a bad thing. It shouldn't be seen as a bad thing. Women do it to guys too, you know. It's not a bad thing. It's just, you know, beautiful people. That's not bad. So I think I missed the shorts a little bit, but I mean, it was fine, you know. But I think they need that because it's the iconic look of the character. I feel like Superman should still have his red underwear. I like iconic looks. And if the Tomb Raider character originally wore pants all the time and they put her in shorts, I'd be complaining about the shorts. Not too much, because I would still enjoy them. But I'd still be complaining a little bit because I like the iconic look, you know. I'll always complain that Superman doesn't have his red underwear, you know. Did Batman have his black? I don't remember. His clothing is so dark all the time anyway, you know. But in Justice League, I'm glad that they found a nice compromise for Wonder Woman's outfit. But anyway, because it makes sense that it would be like a you know, sort of a Greek or Roman type warrior outfit. But anyway, Tomb Raider. But I loved it. I really did. I thought it was a really good movie. I'm gonna recommend anybody interested, go see it. If you haven't already, which you probably have. I hope in the next one she has her classic outfit, because it's classic. And yeah, I would love to see this actress in shorts. But she does a great job. She's an amazing actress, and you know, this film was on her shoulders, and she carried it perfectly. Excellent, great, 2 thumbs up, excellent movie. So I'll talk to you guys later on the next one.